The Smoker leader has been reprinted in ST19. Is it now a good contender for a pretty good black leader, or a Smoker still left in the dust? Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Mob. Today we're going to talk about ST19 Smoker. This is the current deck that I am running. It primarily focuses on just navy black cards specifically. So let's see if let's see how it holds up. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily duels and deck profiles. I upload One Piece, Dragon Ball Fusion World, and Union Arena. Okay, so this is it. So just so you guys know, this is not a crazy heavy meta focus deck. This is trying to work around the specific archetype that is navy. So there's no Gecko Moria or anything in here. I think like 90% of the cards in here are just black navy cards. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll talk about how it works, etc. So here's the Smoker leader. This is the new reprinted ST19 arts. If you guys want to print out your own proxies, link in the description so you can do so. All right, so this is OP02, but it's being reprinted in ST19. Now, one Dawn, attach, active main, so you don't have to attack, which is kind of cool. You give up to one of your opponent's characters -1, which is very good for activating a lot of the effects in here. Then, if there is a character with a cost of 0 in play, this leader gets 1,000. So you must remember, you have to, well, if you want the plus 1,000, you have to make sure there is 0 at the time that you activate this. So even if they are already 0, you can go ahead and still use this to be 0. But just remember, you're not going to get the plus unless there's a 0 cost on the field. So you have to kind of play a little differently than you would with maybe like, you know, the Sakazuki or something like that. So let's go ahead and talk about it. It's going to be from 1 all the way to 10 costs in this deck. Okay, so the first thing is one of the new cards, actually. So check this out. This is Sengoku from ST19. This is 1/1/1. On play, you may trash 2 black navy type cards from your hand. If your leader is navy, so you can use it actually in like the Garp deck or anything like that. You can draw 3 cards. So you're getting rid of 2 and drawing 3. Now the reason why this is good, it's a sifting card. It's a specifically navy sifting card. It's very cheap to use. You use 1 Dawn to get rid of 2 cards to draw 3. Now this is great because you can get rid of a lot of stuff that you just don't really need at that time, aka, you know, just combo pieces, or if you have like way too much of one card, or just dead cards with 0 counters in your hand. So this is really good. I found it to be really great in duels, so we're running 4 of them. This is a really good card if you're running a primarily navy deck. I say you have to run at least 60% for this to be good. All right, next up is our first 2K of the deck. It's going to be Tsuru, OP02. 1/02 on play, give up to somebody -2 cost. You usually want it for the 2K, but if you need it to absolutely KO somebody with your effects, then do it. All right. Next up, we have Ice Age. It's the alternate art Ice Age. Give up to somebody -5, which is a very huge amount. Then trigger is KO a 3 or less. This happens sometimes, especially early game. But yeah, the effect is just so freaking good, especially with this deck, so running these. Next up, it's going to be Marine Forward, aka Navy HQ. So 1 on play, you give up to -1. So the first time that you play it, you're going to get -2, which is cool. Then every turn after that, you're going to be resting the stage, or the same turn. If your leader is Navy, give somebody -1. So essentially, on your turn, yeah, this is probably one of your best things to do, right? You get -1, and then you put 1 Dawn on him to get -2, and then you can start doing some shenanigans that way. So this is another card where you might just run 4 of, because even though you can only play 1, if you have the Sengoku in your hands, then you can go ahead and trash the rest of them to go through. So this is really good. You don't just have dead stages in your hand if you choose to run multiple. All right, next are some Helm Epos, which usually combos well with like a Rebecca or the Gecko Morias, but it's still a nice black navy card to throw in here because the effect is pretty good. You might just skip these and run the Hinas for the 3 cost Hinas that does the same thing but 4, but I put him in here because we needed just a little bit more counters and a cheaper way to get something out. So this is really good here. 2/3/1, give up to a character -3 for more stuff. Now we haven't even got to, this is a tech card running 2 of these. We haven't even got to any of the actual KO cards, but you see how many cards help you sift, help you just remove things. All right. Also, here is Bernu, alternate art Bernu, OP03, 2/3/1. On play, top 3, grab a Navy. Remember, if it's in brackets, it must be the exact. It can't be former Navy or anything like that. If it's in quotation marks, as long as Navy is in the text line, it works. But Navy has to be exact. So other than Burnu, it adds to your hand, then trash the remaining cards. Now, trashing cards really works in this deck. There are about 2 or 3 cards, I think like 2 cards in here that really work with having a bigger trash, which also combos with the Sengoku. Once again, the Sengoku is a key piece to this deck. Anyway, we're running 4 of these Burnus. Next, it's going to be another 2K. You're probably not going to use Tashigi for the effect. You're probably just going to, you know, use her as a 2K, but it's there if you need it, because you can get it the turn she is played. 3/4/2, activate main, rest the character, give somebody -2. And if you do that, she becomes an attacker later on. So we're running 2 of these because we have 4 Surus, and we're going to have 4 of something else coming up. Next up, it's another new ST19 card. This is Monkey D. Garp Pure Navy, 3/4/1 innate blocker that activate main. Place 1 card from your trash to the bottom of the deck. Then give up to one of your opponent's characters -1. So if you throw this out early, you can just keep it there as much as you want. It's a blocker. If you really need it to protect the character to go into late game or your life, then you can use this to, pretty much it's free because you're not really sifting too many cards from the bottom back to your hand, but this allows you to have a nice persistent way as long as this was played, a turn before. You're not doing any more Dawn commitment to give somebody -1. So running a couple of Garps, 3 of these. So these are pretty decent ST19 cards. Now, this is a huge card for the deck. This is Hina from ST19. It's another new ST19 card. 4/6/0. This is a super rare SR, secret rare. Dawn attached. This character has 4 costs up to an 8, so it's going to be really sticky on the board, especially if they have a lot of KO stuff. Then you activate main once per turn. You can place 1 more card from your trash to the bottom of the deck, so it's pretty much another effect like the Monkey D. Garp. Then you give your leader or character up to 1 rested Dawn. Now this is an amazing effect because there's a lot of times where you just don't want to put a Dawn on Smoker. You're too busy trying to play on curve. But if you have Hina on the field, as long as you have some stuff in the trash, which you should if you use the Burnu, if you use the Sengoku, if you counter out, then you're going to always have cards in the graveyard, so your leader will always be able to use their -1 and to use your effects and hopefully even get the +1000. So this combos extremely well. Good, powerful attack. The only thing that's bad is it doesn't have a counter, which is why we're only running 3 of these, because we don't want too many, no counter cards. Next up, it's going to be the Borsalino. This is OP02. This is just a staple in a lot of black cards. 4/5/1. On your opponent's turn, this gains 1000, so it's perma 6 on the opponent's turn. Innate blocker and cannot be KO'd by effects. But there's a lot of cards these days, especially with OP09 coming out, that specifically say, oh, trash a card. Or blue has a lot of bottom decking. So, this had a lot of value in a very, very early set, especially the set that it came out, maybe all the way to OP04. But now a lot of cards are coming out that just counters, specifically cannot be KO'd by effects. But it's still good to have because, they're not always going to have it in. So we're running a couple of these. Next up, we have Kuzans. It has good value on its own, so this is a great card to play. 4/5/0 on play, draw 1 card. When attacking, give up to your opponent -4. So you play it, you get a card back, and hopefully, you can consistently keep doing the -4 because that is absolutely going to trigger this a lot and allow you to do more stuff. So, okay, now, every card that we've seen has just been lowering cost, keeping you alive with blockers, trashing and searching. Well, now we have 5 and plus. It's going to be the KO stuff to really, drive home the fact that you're a Black Navy deck. So this is the new Tashigi from ST19. This is the perfect card for this deck. It only works with Smoker. Let's check it out. 5/6/1 on play. If your leader is Smoker, give somebody -4. Pretty good. Then you can activate main once per turn. If this is the turn this character was played, so you can't do this any other turn. You place up to one of your opponent's characters 0 into the trash. Here we go. It's not a KO, so you can get rid of a bunch of stuff. For example, if they have a Sabo on the field, you can now completely get rid of it on the turn that you play Tashigi, because most likely you're going to have a Navy HQ on the field, so you can go down -5. A lot of really good stuff. So yes, it goes into the trash. And then later on, it's a 5/6 for a decent body, and you can counter. So you absolutely run 4 of these. This is specifically Smoker only. I guess technically you could play it for just the activate main if your leader is Smoker, but then you have to have because the effect's okay. But without having this, it's really tough to justify a 5 cost use in this deck. Next off, it's going to be another 2K. It's T-Bone 5/5/2 on play. KO a 2 or less, so is another KO card. Really good. Running 4 of these guys. Next up, I'm retrying. I haven't used these since the set that came out, like, honestly. Monkey D. Garp, 560, activate main, trash 1, and rest this. A KO up to a character that's 4 or less, so it's decent because if you use it even once, you're trashing a card, so you can get some use out of the Garp and the Hina in your graveyard, but because it's rested, it's also a pseudo blocker. Your opponent doesn't want you to have the continuous ability to KO a 4 cost, so they're going to try their hardest to get rid of it, and if they don't, you can use it to attack if they don't have anything on the field, or you can keep doing that. So you're going to have a lot of card value with Sengoku on the board anyway, so this is good. We're running 2 of these to try them out. Now, another card that kind of fell off seeing play, and the reason being, it's because these 2 cards, you have to trash a card to do so. And there's not a lot of ways to draw back. But because we have the new Sengoku that allows you to draw way more cards and trash out the stuff you don't need, these guys are seeing a little bit more viable play. Not a lot, but because it's a specific navy black card, it's just good for the Smoker deck. So 670 on play, trash 1, KO a 5 or less. So it's 1 more cost. It is a bigger body. It costs 1 more. It's a one-time use. It's a pretty decent card. We're running 3 of these. And then finally, the last card is going to be Kuzan. Now remember, this is a former Navy, so you can't really use it to discard or anything like that from your Sengoku, but it's just a really good boss monster that you want to throw out. So 10-10-0 your turn. All of your characters, opponent's character gets -5 to their cost. Now, if you somehow have that 4-drop Hina on the field, you can activate that on the same turn this comes out. So you can go ahead and, pretty much make sure there's a 0 cost, so your leader gets 1,000. Then on play, KO somebody with a cost of 0. So a lot of good ways to play around this. I think the thing about this Smoker deck, it's obviously not the greatest. You can absolutely make this so it plays like a Sakazuki deck, like a Rob Lucci. You can have a bunch of Gecko Morias. You can have a lot of Rebecca's. You can play exactly like that with the Smoker deck, albeit a little bit weaker. But if you were going to do that, you might as well just play those leaders and don't touch Smoker. The reason why I'm making this specific deck profile the way it is because you want to work around the leader and their specific archetypes. A lot of leaders just work better with other things. So, once again, there's no reason to play Smoker if you're not going to try to work around Smoker himself. So that's why we're running it this way. So I like this deck. It's pretty fun. I need to do a little bit more testing to see if these Garps are even useful, but I think absolutely these Sakazukis are amazing just to give you a little bit more board presence, and most likely or not, you're going to KO a bunch of stuff. If you put it on the turn it's out, you're most likely going to have the Navy HQ, so you're going to KO a 6-drop. If you have the Hina or Gobber beforehand, you have the potential to knock somebody out that's a 7 or less when you play this. And later on, even if you have an Ice Age for 7 Dawn and play this, you're KOing a 10-drop. More stuff in the trash equals more stuff to activate Garp and Hina. It's a pretty good fun time, and I hope they just reprinted this, and I don't think there's any good Black Navy support in OP09. As of recording this, not all the cards have been released yet, so we'll see what happens. But I think OP10 is gonna have at least 1 or 2 more good cards that Smoker might be able to use. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about the new Smoker. What would you add or remove? Remember, we're just trying to do some fun Navy build here, so let us know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.